Imagine looking out your window and seeing the beautiful scene that surrounds your home. Now imagine looking out your window and seeing a smoke-filled atmosphere that gives your life a brown tint, and knowing that even stepping foot outside would harm your health. While this may be a bit difficult for us to imagine, it is the reality for people living in Beijing, China today. And before environmental policies were passed in the US, it was the reality for people living in highly industrialized cities like Los Angeles. According to Sloan Barnett in her 2008 book titled Green Goes with Everything, the dense smog in Los Angeles was the most famous air pollution problem when I was growing up. But in fact, a cloud of pollution hung over every major city in the country at least part of the time. So I took 2 years of chemistry in high school, and I'm currently taking a chemistry course that is centered on the causes of global warming, which is primarily air pollution. Therefore, I have already done extensive research on this topic prior to preparing for this speech. Individuals in China are finally taking a stand against the air pollution crisis that their government has allowed to go on for far too long, which is raising awareness all around the globe for the severity of global pollution. So today I'll be informing you about an event that occurred roughly 2 weeks ago regarding air pollution in China that could have a revolutionary effect on Chinese environmental policies. So first, I'm going to briefly explain how the air in China came to be so polluted. And second, I'll go into more detail about the event that occurred 2 weeks ago in China. And lastly, I'll cover a few of the responses that people have had toward this event. So pollution in our air is primarily based on 5 chemical substances: carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, ozone, and particulate matter. These substances can be created by nature, such as the emission of sulfur dioxide by a volcanic eruption and particulate matter from a wildfire. However, air pollution is most often caused by human activities, primarily carbon monoxide from car exhaust and the nitrogen and sulfur dioxide's emission from the burning of coal. Because China is the largest industrial economy in the world, their exposure to these substances is rapidly increasing, and air pollution in China is growing at an uncontrollable rate. According to the American Chemical Society states in their 2012 textbook titled Chemistry in Context, China's coal consumption in 2008 was 43% of the world total, with the United States at 17% and India at 7%. According to Matt Sheehan in his article published on March 2nd in the World Post, pollution is heaviest in China's industrial north, and extreme pollution episodes in Beijing recently led the mayor to declare the city unlivable. So now that you have some background on how China became so polluted, I will now tell you about an event that occurred roughly 2 weeks ago. So on February 28th, an investigative reporter in China named Chai Jing released a 104-minute-long documentary in which she expresses the severity of air pollution in Beijing, China. Immediately after the video was released, it went viral, and within 2 days, it had over 150 million views. Much of the film ties together her investigations of the country's coal, steel, and oil industries with her personal struggle to protect the health of her daughter. Her investigations of the country's industrial market exposes the truth about the air pollution crisis that many industries are aware of, but they choose to ignore because increasing the health of the environment decreases their profit. She creates an emotional impact by telling the story of her newborn daughter who was born with a benign tumor that the video implies was caused by air pollution. She titles the documentary Under the Dome in reference to a well-known sci-fi series by Stephen King about a town that was enclosed in a glass bubble, which she compares to how she has to keep her daughter indoors on polluted days. She explains that the first thing she does each day is check the air quality index on her phone to see if it is safe to go outside that day. Her life revolves around that number. After carrying out investigations of various factories, she criticized China's leading state oil industries, Sinopec and PetroChina, for having a duopoly over China's oil industry. Because of their control over the market, they have hardly any competition, and this allows them to influence a lower standard of automobile fuel in order to increase their profits, which consequently increases air pollution. This video caused such an uproar that it produced various reactions from people from all over China. According to Deborah Davis in her 2002 book titled When Smoke Ran Like Water, in China, the media, like much of the country, have been highly controlled for generations. But on the issue of the environment, free media have become a central part of the government's efforts. Both praise and criticism dominated Chinese social networks in the days following the release of the film. Despite how critical the film is of China's current situation, it seems to have gained the support of key parts of China's government bureaucracy, most likely because they are aware of the air pollution crisis they have going on. China's newly appointed Minister of Environmental Protection, Chen Jining, compared the film to Rachel Carson's Silent Spring, the investigation of pesticides that helped launch America's environmental movement over 50 years ago. Chen, a former environmental scientist, also sent Chai a text to thank her for her work on the film. On the other hand, in state-controlled media, the reaction has been mixed depending on where you obtain the information. The leading Communist Party-controlled newspaper actually devoted a webpage to the film and published a rather long interview with Chai. However, propaganda authorities are attempting to minimize coverage across Chinese media. According to Edward Wong in his article published on March 6 in the New York Times, by the afternoon of that same day, the momentum over the video came to an abrupt halt, as major Chinese video websites deleted it under order from the Communist Party's Central Propaganda Department. The reactions to the video are just beginning, and I believe that this is China's first step in regulating their manufacturing economy with the best interests of the environment in mind. This event goes to show that people in China are finally taking a stand against the air pollution crisis that their government has allowed to go on for far too long, which is raising awareness all over the world in regards to the severity of global pollution. The next time you look out your window, no matter what weather conditions you face, be grateful that you can see the clear blue sky above.